because something must have caused it to pop into existence, I would assume, right? Because I still live in a temporal world. This is a temporal world. Time, space, matter, and so on and so forth, all the different dimensions. So I know that causality is real according to my inductive observations. Then I'm saying some cause had to have made it pop into existence 5 seconds ago. And you know what will end up happening? I'll end up going back to, oh, it's probably a God. So I'll end up with the same exact conclusion because something that could have caused the universe to pop into existence 5 seconds ago with all the matter and energy and space and da 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 da. Well, I mean, it's an omniscient God, an all powerful God, a God that has intelligence, teleology, and so on and so forth. So it's very rational. Each pathway you could rationally still conclude a God. What else has the productive capacity to create anything, to instantiate anything, whether it's 5 seconds ago or 13 billion years ago? What has the capacity, productive capacity to do that besides an entity and a being that has certain qualities and characteristics that we can easily logically infer? So
Well,
that
what
that would
about
be how.
okay, but you can see that you could be a simulation in someone's computer, right? And then what you see and what you observe as the universe is just barely just a simulation, and it could be as huge as you like to envision it to be, just like any world that we create using computer games that we have today, right? Like if you played say Fortnite, and you are a character in that game, that word of yours can just come into existence as fast as just flicking a switch on a computer or on a PC or on a PS,
Yeah, I
right?
mean
And
that
then
that
there,
doesn't change. That doesn't change anything. I mean, the atheist is the one that has the problem with this kind of logic because they can't ground any of their morals. I mean, sorry, any of their truths in objectivity. So there's everything is subjective. It's a subjective experience. They suffer from the issue of hard solipsism. They can't prove that the external world exists. They're stuck. So they would have this dilemma. A theist doesn't have this dilemma. So
but you're assuming all of these things.
I'm like arguing how like you kind of want me to argue the atheist perspective, which I can do easily and show why it's untenable. But ultimately, I
No,
mean, what position do you hold? Because so far you haven't really gotten any
uh,
particular
here's the thing.
justification for your claim. So I'm going to just give you one more chance, an opportunity, so I can, then I can bring other people up who might
Yeah,
have
no,
a
no
position.
worries, no
Yeah.
worries. If you've got, yeah, we got plenty of people waiting.
Especially since you're a theist, I think it would be more fair to give the atheist an opportunity to try.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so how would you prove uh, the objective reality? Like there is a world out there. How would you prove that?
Because God exists. Because God
Okay,
exists,
so
and
so
and God said that He created the external world. He created reality. He created the universe, and so that's how it's proven.
now assume I'm gonna really be
Yeah,
atheist here
God
because
says, "Al
because
haqqu min rabbik." All truth stems from God. So that's what
hold on.
God said. So that's
You
the
you assumed
objective.
you assumed God,
Yep.
and then everything I say, how do you prove any claim that you have? You say because God exists. Like, how do you actually prove? How do you prove there is an up? So when we look at something, we've got senses that get us information from the what we think the world around us, right? We got eyes, we got ears, we got touch senses. We
Yep.
collect that information, and that information is presented as pictures in somewhere in maybe in our brains or minds, right? We we there is disconnect. We collect that information, and then we formulate that information in some sort of a way within ourselves. How
This is
and
this
that's
is See, the reason this is a problem for you is because you don't understand our worldview. Our worldview has three pathways to knowledge and certainty. Haqqul yaqeen, that's certainty that comes from revelation. So whatever God revealed is true, and that supersedes all other pathways. Then you have ilmul yaqeen, that's logic and rationality, right, and so forth. Anything that comes from that realm. So that means my logic and rationality can be superseded by the revelation. And then last is ainul yaqeen. That's sense data, that's testimony, that's, information that comes from my eyes and my touch and so forth, which can be superseded by haqqul yaqeen, revelation. So I don't need to defer to a lesser pathway to get to certainty. If it says it in the
But
book and it says God created everything, then that's enough for me. That's a proof because I've already
But what's
presumed
the
God.
point? What's the point of having a live where you're going trying to debate atheists if you're not going to debate them using their logic? Because
Oh,
you
I can
can't
use
just
their logic. Their logic leads to this kind of quagmire where you can't prove the real world, where you're stuck as a brain in a vat and you don't know if you're in a simulation, where you don't know if other minds exist, the problem of hard solipsism, the problem of induction. You have all of these issues. I've already argued it, but I mean, I've presented it that their worldview leads to this kind of madness, which is all subjective. That's easy to do. I just did it. I actually did it multiple times in this conversation. But when you ask, well, and I think what you're trying to do is saying, well, don't you have the same problem? No, we don't have the same problem. And that's why our worldview is so strong. And that's why you have more and more and more people
wait.
becoming theists.
Yeah,
But
I know, but
I kind of got to let you go because, first of all, you didn't really present an argument. Second of all, you claim to be a theist, which is kind of strange because you're arguing for atheism. Um, and then
but you didn't really prove
thirdly or
anything.
fourthly,
All he said is
no,
assume.
it's not that I didn't prove anything. It's that you didn't have a counter argument. So that's that,
You're
man.
just saying,
Hey,
that's
hey Derry,
becoming.
I really do got to let
That's
other
okay.
people come up.
No
So
worries.
there's about
See ya.
4 people in the queue. All right, take care, man. All right. Ultimately, you got to have something to support your claim. Like, we have a very, very strong worldview that is impossible in many ways. I don't know how anyone can counter it. I saw somebody posted in the chat. They said, God of the gaps fallacy. Please come up and bring that. Please come up and bring your God of the gaps fallacy. It doesn't apply here. But anyways,